I have come across one of the greatest free apps for musicians to use when making music on a computer. The name, LoopCloud 5. So whether you are a seasoned music veteran who hates the very mention of using a loop, or a beginner who swears by them, there is no denying that to many people in the music industry, using loops is an integral part of the music making business. From services like Landr Samples to Splice, all the way to things like native instrument sounds, music producers all over the world have been using these tools to help them make better music and also help them learn to become better producers. I have come across one of the greatest free apps for musicians to use when making music on a computer. The name, LoopCloud 5. So Loopmasters actually approached me a few months ago asking if I wanted to review their product LoopCloud 4 on this channel, which I did do. Basically highlighting all of the key features, why it was great for aspiring musicians, well-seasoned musicians, and producers all across the board. There were so many features in that program, from editing your loops to pitching up and down your loops, reversing things, adding your entire sound library to this, and host it in the cloud to free up hard drive space. There were so many useful features to use, but with LoopCloud 5, it only gets better. So that is LoopCloud, the cloud-based subscription platform, which allows you to not only shop through millions of samples, exclusive content from labels and artists, and other free sounds offered each and every month, but it allows you to store your entire sample library within the cloud so you can free up space on your hard drive. In addition to all of these amazing key features, LoopCloud 5 adds a whole bunch of really dope tricks and amazing new features that I want to focus on in today's video. From the built-in 8-track editor to in-house effects plugins and 2 brand new VSTs drum and play right in the software. And just before I get into demonstrating how all of these dope new features and tools work, I do want to say that all of these tools will be available for free for the first 30 days to anybody who signs up and tries it out, including 300 points for you to use in the LoopCloud marketplace to buy new samples, buy new loops, their vast selection of samples and loops in the Loopmasters catalog. Now, the cool thing about LoopCloud is even if you don't want to pay for the monthly subscription service, you can still download LoopCloud completely free and use all of their free services that are on the free plan. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into the computer so I can show you how these new features work. Let's get into it. Here's the LoopCloud website. Everything that you guys want to know about LoopCloud you can find here, about pricing, tutorials, the plugins that they offer. If you guys want to check out all the different things that each tier offers, you can go ahead and check this out on the website. Let's jump into LoopCloud. You guys already know how this stuff works from my previous video. If you didn't already watch that video, be sure that you go back. I'll put a card up here so that you guys can go see. But yeah, you can sort through like the types of instrument like bass, drum, cymbal, effects, guitars, keyboards, mallets. There's subcategories in each section, so bass guitar, sub guitar, synth guitar, things like that. But for every single category of instrument, it's broken down into like those different tiers. So it's really dope. So if you were inputting a new instrument in whatever program you're using, you would come in here and then go to Loopmasters. You got LoopCloud, LoopCloud Drum, and the LoopCloud Play, which is going to be like instrument type things like keyboards and different things like that, synths. All right, so here we go. This is LoopCloud Play. Each and every instrument is going to have its own parameters as far as like the effects that you can change, you know, just as every VST does. But you can come in here and edit the chorus, the delay, the reverb, time stretch, and all this stuff again is found within the cloud, but it's super dope. I like that. Let's just go with it, man. If you guys want to find other sounds, you can use the different presets up here. You can select this and go through all of the different included presets that are within the factory thing. But I'm just gonna, I like where this is going already, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to make something out of this. 2, 3, let's go. Hey. So we got our first aspect of our instrumentation down, and that was a VST in LoopCloud Play. I'm going to add another play instrument here. Icicle Sinister Synths. Okay, let's try and see if we can mess with this a little bit. So they got the filter section here, the drive, which is like the grit, the distortion of it. They have the cutoff, amp, envelope, reverb, chorus, and time stretch. All right, so now that we got those LoopCloud play things in there, let's show you what LoopCloud drum looks like. And this is a sequencer sampler. It'll generate different drum loops for you. You can use the sequencer in here to make your own little drum loops. You can sort through a bunch of different kits. You make your drum pattern. When you're making your drum pattern, you can have the patterns selected and then just select a different kit to play all of those exact same patterns, just with a different set of instrumentation. You hear that? If I want to keep that pattern as it is and just change out basically the sounds, I would select this pattern button right here and just go to a different. You hear that? Next. And you can randomize what your pattern is doing by clicking, I think it's this button right here. I don't want to mess with it right now because I like what this pattern is doing, but I'm going to show you guys what the mixer does. So the mixer, you have your kick, your snare, your all the pads, all the different instrumentations that are in this kit. You can edit them individually, which is really dope. You can add a reverb without adding it to the entire drum loop. You can add it just to the kick or just to the snare. You can change the delay on each of these things. You can also do mixing in here if something is too loud. So I don't like how loud the hi-hat is. I can just turn it down. Mess around with some of these effects in the top. A little lo-fi sound. I like that. Let's go to one knob fatter so we can add more bottom to this. So I like where this is going. Now, the thing about loops, this is what I always recommend, is when you use loops, don't just use the loops by themselves. You have to layer on top of it or change the loops or do something that's going to make it your own. What I like to do is I like to layer the drums, add some kind of drums that I like. I like that. Something like that. So we'll add this. So we got drums on top of our drums to give it a little bit more of a kick. Now, for instance, this is why I always say loops can help inspire ideas. So I didn't have any ideas for the drum patterns before I, started just diving into making drums and stuff. But I built some drums around a loop that was already included in LoopCloud. Now, this is for all the people who say that loops is lazy production. No, it's not. Use it as inspiration because I just made a loop pattern. If I mute this drum right here and I use just the drums that I personally made myself because I had inspiration, check it out. It's a little bit empty, but I can always add on top of this. Like, but since I put this in here for a reason, I'm gonna go ahead and use it. If you are completely new to music making and you don't have the knowledge on how to craft your own stuff, click this random button down here and see what happens. Click it, it generates a pattern for me. So we just randomized the kick for the A section of this loop. Let's go to the B section and randomize another part. Let's go to the snare, click A, randomize. Let's clear all. Let's randomize the shaker. Now you'll notice this has a velocity panel here and a roll panel here. So the velocity, this is going to be how loud your samples or the sound is going to be. So this right here is a shaker, this right here is a shaker, 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 but it's all going to the beat. You can determine how loud those sounds are. Here, this means nothing is playing. You can turn it up a little bit to have like a little in the background, halfway, a little bit louder, and then all the way up to really get a prominent hit. And then you have the roll, which is going to, depending on how many you put in there. So that's going to be really good for people who like to do those trap drums and mess around with the hi-hats and triplets and all that crazy stuff. Y'all could go nuts with that stuff. You hear that? That's because of this roll right here. On top of that, guys, as you know, LoopCloud has a bunch of different loops that you can search for. So I want to go ahead and add something to this to show you the effects side that is built into LoopCloud. So it's already connected to the DAW. So any changes I make in tempo here is going to be affected here. Every single sample that I play in the DAW from LoopCloud is going to be on beat, which is extremely, extremely dope. Mess around with this loop here. So the loop is matched up to tempo and matched up to the key. So what you want to do here, LoopCloud has this built-in effects editor. So you click this plus button here on the left side and you can see they have delays, filters, panners, reverbs. Let's look at reverb. Let's get an acoustic guitar reverb, and you can see we have this selected, and if we play this here, you can add another effect on top of that. So let's add a, what do we want to add? Panner. I kind of like that. So once you add your effects, you do the same thing as you do with any other instrument in the Loop browser. So you can buy the file if you don't already have it on your thing, which this is going to cost me 2 points. Let's go ahead and buy this file, and then you can download the processed file, which is with all the effects, everything applied, or you can download the original. I'm going to download the processed, or download all rather. So original versus processed. This is going to be with all the effects applied. We drag this over here, we just drop it on top of this, and check it out. The cool thing about this is it doesn't slow down your computer because it's already printing the effects on top of the instrumentation. So when you bring it into whatever DAW you're using, it's going to already have all of those effects applied, and it's not counting on the computer to put all that stuff on the effects live. So it's already printed, and it'll help your program run smoother. So let's go. Hey. So I highly recommend, if you haven't already downloaded LoopCloud or the new edition of LoopCloud, LoopCloud 5, be sure to do that down in the description. Start your 30-day free trial. You guys will not regret it, I promise you. How can you regret doing free? So with all of that being said, guys, thank you for watching. As always, stay legendary and go cop yourself LoopCloud immediately. I promise you, bro.